warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. How was racing? Okay, so let us all recite Ayatul Kursi. So this is something that I recently learned when I went to Deoband. I'm sure everyone knows about that place in India. And I was just sitting with one lady over there, and we were in general we were discussing about Islam, of course, being way of life, how to get closer to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. And then there were stories where when we were discussing, we were talking about some great ulamas and speakers, where I was telling her that when I see them giving speeches, and when I see people taking shahada, I want to know that what is it that they talk, or what is it that they say that people actually revere and they accept Islam. And she told me this very beautiful thing. That is the reason I started with this. She said, you know what, I'll tell you that one of the ulama who was speaking to her husband, they said that before you start giving any kind of dawah or start talking about Allah Subhanahu wa Taala, the first thing that you do is recite Ayatul Kursi. Because when you recite Ayatul Kursi, shaitan moves away. So after मेरे बीच में से shaitan is inshallah God. So now what I'm going to say will reach directly to you, and it will inshallah make it easier for us to understand, and it will be easier for me also, because whenever there is work of dawah, shaitan is always around, because obviously he doesn't want people to follow the right path and eventually get closer to Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. First of all, I am thankful to all of you all who have come here. Trust me, I never imagined this ever in my life. Like, it's I'm sorry, man. Sideways?
No, yeah, this way. Okay.
It's too early to cry. Because since the time I have landed in the States and I have come to Chicago, I was just thinking that, I came to US 2015. And I remember, this was not the summer that came here. And before coming here on stage, I was praying, and, I was just crying in my room, and I was just thinking how amazing, how beautiful Allah's plans are. And there is so less that we think of ourselves. And few years back, I was here in America, walking in my shorts with open hair, doing every kind of, probably, we are all big sinners, especially me, I feel. And I've done everything that probably was upsetting Allah Subhanahu wa Taala. I'm sure he was angry and must be thinking, kya kar rahi hai ye? Allah loves us all. So of course, it does make a difference when you disobey Him. It has, when we say that Allah doesn't, need this, Allah doesn't need that, beshak, but when we are ashraful makhluk, anything that we do, it does make a difference. And I was just thinking that exactly after 2015, here I am in States, 2024, giving bayan, motivational speech. And about what? Islam. Something that I didn't have in my life. So, this is biggest blessing from Allah Subhanahu wa Ta'ala that came to me. I never even knew such majlis existed, Imagine how lost I was. That I didn't know that there were majlises like that. There were women out here, of course everywhere, be it states, be it anywhere in the world. There are women who step out of their house and they go and listen to such things. I never knew this existed. And ticket लेके आना, oh my God, ये तो बहुत ही बड़ी बात है ना? कितनी बड़ी बात है कि कोई खर्च करके आ रहा है, because people expect, Islamic knowledge to always be for free.
But when it comes to worldly knowledge, we don't mind taking loans and we don't mind paying interest for our children's future. But when the topic is akhirat, every 1 pound, $1, everything is accountable. We count. Oh my God, कैसे बल्कि जाना है? ये तो फ्री में होना चाहिए, है ना? So somewhere we have lost so much हमारे अंदर से that sometimes when I even look back, I feel how would I even tell myself that I'm a Muslim? How? I don't look like a Muslim. I don't do anything like a Muslim. My lifestyle is not like a Muslim. And then sirf takbir was something that we were good at. And one thing that I always used to hear, Allah is Rahim and Allah is Kareem. That's it. And I forgot that Allah is the most fair. And I remember when my husband came to me with the dawah of trying to probably make me understand that this is not what life is. And I remember when I first met him, and I was like, it's a very weird story. When I first met him, I kept avoiding him so much. He used to text me every day, I want to meet you, and I was in Haram. And I want to meet you, I want to meet you. I remember before leaving from Makkah, I told him, okay, I can meet you now, like right now. And like only for 5 minutes, as if pata nahi main kaun thi, and what personal interest he would have or what he would gain out of that. But that simple man came with only one thing, that was fikr for my akhirah. Throughout my life, I had so many friends. We partied together, we watched movies together, we shopped together, we did everything together. But none of them ever cared about my akhirat. And same here, it's not that only them, even I, because I didn't know anything. तो बातें जो होती थी वो सिर्फ दुनिया की होती थी, and we used to congratulate each other for doing haram. How crazy, na? That when you wear seductive clothes, you're like, wow, you're so hot. And in fact, when I used to post pictures like that, even my dead friends on Instagram would put a heart on it. But if anything good, anything modest, no comment. And I always used to feel that there are these few friends who always comment whenever I put anything that is not modest. And I remember once I was discussing, I always had this fear of, I don't know how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala out of nowhere started putting fear of so many things in my life. And one day I thought of discussing it with my friend. And I told my friend that, I'm not very happy here. I don't feel happy. And I don't know what is the reason for me to not be happy. Considering that, I have everything, whatever probably we all dream of, and I wear designer clothes, I wear expensive clothes. Of course, even you can just hire and give it back to the designer. You don't even have to buy it, to be honest. And you're traveling for free, there's this business class, there's this 5-star hotel, everything is there for you. But why that emptiness? एक खालीपन था जिंदगी में और वो पता ही नहीं था क्यों है ना? Sometimes we run behind certain things, happiness, peace, but we don't know. Like example, when I was buying my new car, I was so happy, I was so excited, and I was like, लेना है, लेना है, लेना है, and that excitement was there when I was flying for it, when I got it, and then for a week. गाड़ी आने के एक हफ्ते के बाद, I didn't even care that I'm driving this, something that I dreamt of. Excitement was zero. And I always used to think, why am I not happy? This was my major question that actually turned me, in terms of my thoughts. It made me question myself that why am I not happy? And that is when I started finding the answer. And I remember once when I was very upset, I spoke to one friend of mine, Muslim. I had so many non-Muslims, and that one Muslim, close friend, I remember telling him, I want to discuss something with you. I'm not very happy with what is happening in my life, and more than that, I want to do something where I can have a halal income, because I know it for a fact that whatever I'm doing right now and whatever I'm earning is not halal, it's haram, and I accept it. When do you do tawbah? When do you do tawbah? The main question is, when you accept what you're doing is wrong, जब आप सही और गलत एक्सेप्ट ही नहीं कर रहे हो, हराम और हलाल को डिफरेंशिएट ही नहीं कर रहे हो, how will your tawbah ever happen? How will you return to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala? How are you going to change your life? It will never happen till the time you don't tell yourself that this is wrong, this is not correct, this is taking me away from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, this is the reason I'm lost. And also, of course, there was this one person behind my this spot. I remember when I had gone for Umrah in 2000 and this was my second Umrah, 2014. I remember I was in Haram, and when I came back, there was, of course, our tour agent was down, and they were sitting, and I came back. My mom was there, and of course, she's wheelchair bound. I dropped her, and there was a small boy who was taking care of, the place, the Hajis. And he told me, you know what, Baji, this guy, another Haji from next hotel, apparently, because, Bombay in the same area, alag agents, different hotels close by, and then everybody goes for a tafri after the Isha, namaz is over, Tarawih is over. And that person came, and that person told this person, my travel agent's youngest brother, he was like, 15? I clearly remember what he said. Of course, I forgive him and I'm glad that he said that, but of course, at that point of time, I cried a lot. He said, ये सना उम्रा पे आती क्यों है हर साल? कमाती तो हराम है. इसका उम्रा कहाँ से कबूल होगा? And I remember I cried so much because, it's Ramadan anyways and you're fasting and you're in the house of Allah. Aapka emotion is already here. Like, right now, even I'm talking, whenever I talk about Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, even basic things, I don't know why, I just start crying. It's very difficult for me even to explain anything to my mother. Because the moment I start talking, it's very tough for me to complete. Even if it's at home. जब शाम को भी मैं बैठती हूँ at times, and I tell my mom, sit, my sister, cousin, my father, make everyone like that, जाओ मैं पढ़ती हूँ कुछ, Fazail Amal or any book, and then probably I'll layer more things with it. My father is just looking at me because he's from Kerala, so his understanding of Urdu is anyways very weak. And then when I start crying, he can't. He's just waiting for me to complete so that he understands what has actually happened. So I remember when I heard this from this guy, I cried so much. I left my mom in the room. I ran and I went back to Haram, and I was all alone, and I was just crying my heart out. And I was right there in front of Kaabatullah, and these were I'll tell you the dua, what I asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because I want you to know that no matter what, it will take a year, 2, 3, 4, but dua kabul hoti hai. So please never ever be disappointed. कभी मत सोचना कि मैं अल्लाह से ये दुआ कब से मांग रही हूँ. I've been asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala this dua from last 5 years. Everything is going to happen when the time is right, when you are ready for it. I remember I went to Said Kaabatullah, and I was crying and I was crying so much that literally this lady next to me, she's like, क्या हुआ बच्चा, कुछ problem है? I was like, बहुत बड़ी problem है. And I went ahead because I just wanted no one to see me, because I used to be so shy पहले, to cry in front of people. I was like, कोई देख रहा है, मुझे नहीं रोना है. बट मैंने रियलाइज किया, जब मैं रोती हूँ मुझे बहुत अच्छा लगता है. आई फील लाइट, और एक दिल में सुकून फील होता है. एंड मुझे लगता है रोना चाहिए. जब इंसान रोता है ना, वो इंसान जेंटल रहता है. रोना इंसान के दिल को नरम रखता है. इट कीप्स योर हार्ट सॉफ्ट व्हेन यू क्राई. So it happened when I started giving speeches. Then I was like, रुक ही नहीं रहा है. And then I was like, it's okay, let me cry, it's okay, it doesn't matter, because that is exactly how I feel at that point of time. Those are my emotions and I cannot control it. And I went there in front of Kaabatullah and I'm like, Allah, this person, because that time I was a different person, I was also a little revengeful. I was like, this person said this to me. You take my revenge. How dare he say that to me? I came to your house. in Ramadan for my umrah with my own money. Okay, I understand. This money is not halal. This is literally how I'm talking to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. As if, you're talking to a friend. Open, सब कुछ, मतलब गलती भी accept कर रही हूँ मैं अल्लाह के आगे, है ना? So I'm like, Allah, I know that this is not halal, but this is not the right time, at the right place to say that. And that is when the conversation just started going deeper with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, because I was sitting all alone. I had nobody, because I generally am very shy to cry in front of my mother, because when she sees me crying, she starts crying double, and then I have to Arey Baba, kuch nahi hua, please keep quiet, and then I feel like no, I don't want to do it in front of her, because she gets very emotional. You know how mothers are, especially with their daughters. And then I prayed to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I remember when I was crying, and then I was sitting there, I was watching, all the hajis doing tawaf and small kids doing tawaf, and I liked them, something so cute all of a sudden. And I was like, Allah, inshallah, I'm sure you all must have heard this before in my other videos. I said, Allah, if I ever have a child and a son, inshallah, I'm going to make my son alim. And then I was like, but how is it possible? Imagine now, it's me who's wanting something from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and at the same time it's me doubting him. How funny ना कि मैं मांग भी रही हूँ, मांगना भी उनसे है और डाउट भी करना है. So I'm like, Allah, how is it possible? Because I am not like that. I am जब आप थोड़ा पर्दा करने लग जाते हो, थोड़ा अबाया पहन लेते हो, when you are more focused on your halal and haram, your income, other things, people label you as extreme Muslim. She's an extremist. So मैंने वो brackets पता किए थे कि अब तभी मैं extremist नहीं थी, तो तब लोग क्या कहते थे? We are modern Muslim. So मैं modern Muslim से अभी extreme Muslim पे आ गई हूँ for people who generally categorize you there. So I remember when I was there, I was like, but Allah, I'm a modern Muslim, okay, and I don't have it in me. How am I going to make my son an alim when I don't have it in me? क्योंकि मैं अगर ऐसी हूँ, तो I'm assuming my husband is also going to be some, like me only, modern होगा. अब जब हम दोनों ऐसे होंगे, if we both are modern, how is my child going to be alim? How will I make him understand the importance of topi? How will I make him understand the importance of beard? How am I going to make him understand the importance of kurta pajama? I would want my son to wear that. So how will I make him understand that? Now imagine when I'm asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for a son to be alim. I can also ask for a husband who's alim, right? Because I'm just manifesting things. But imagine my mind is not working. I'm only asking for a child who will inshallah be alim. But how is it possible, Allah? Because we both are not like that. Maybe when my child is young, I will try and put him in the course, and inshallah he'll learn. But once he'll grow, he'll watch us, he'll watch me, he'll watch his father, and he'll say, ये लोग दोनों enjoy कर रहे हैं, मुझे कुर्ता पजामा में डाल दिया है ना? Because child's first madrasa is the mother and of course home. Be it mother and father, both. I always say it's both. Because your child will eventually end up doing what he watches. And I'm like, if I don't do this, how am I going to put my child on that path? How is it going to work? It's so tough today. I see that. It's so tough to make your children understand what Islam is. And to make them understand things that Allah likes and things that Allah doesn't like. It gets really, really tough. And the questions and the confusion. And I understand because I had this for the longest. And I moved from there. Imagine 2014, I asked Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala for this. And 2020, Allah got me married to an alim. And inshallah, if Allah wills, when I was pregnant, I told everyone, my husband said that way before, but I told everyone, I'm going to have a son. They were like, how are you so confident? I said, I'm telling you I'm going to have a son. They were like, why? I said, because I see the order of my dua, that Allah is accepting. And I know that the dua that I made that day, that I want an alim child, inshallah, if I have a son, even if I have a daughter, but at that point of time, because I was seeing a baby boy with that ihram, I just felt that was so cute. So I was like, if I have a son, I'll make him an alim, inshallah, with whatever best I can give. So I told my husband, because I see this happening in this order, I know that this is how it will happen. Inshallah, I'll have a son. And then of course, inshallah, if Allah wills, it will end that one day I will be giving bayan someday somewhere and saying that finally my son is an alim today, inshallah. Please say ameen. So that is how it started, and that is every time I tell my this dream to like this thing that I asked from Allah Subhanahu wa Taala to people, because I want people to have hope. Don't be hopeless. बहुत बार होता है हमारी जिंदगियों में बहुत प्रॉब्लम आता है. We face so much of difficulties. There are certain situations you always feel that why me. Sometimes we question, even if we are believers, we still have that question, even though we know that this is how it happens, but we will still have this question, why me? Why this trial is on me? Why every time it's happening with me? The question is because Allah chooses you. Sometimes, when we have problems in our life, like when me and my husband sit and there's always something or the other happening, unfortunately, and I always tell my husband, astaghfirullah, astaghfirullah, I'm very happy where I am today, but I tell him that, in my Madi life, I always call it Zamana-e-Jahiliyat, my past. So I always tell him that during the Zamana-e-Jahiliyat, everyone was busy in their own life. And so was I. No one bothered. And the moment I made a shift, all of a sudden I become a topic of discussion in so many negative ways. And suddenly everyone is only and only trying to find flaws in me and trying to point out wrong things. And every time, and that is when you read, Allah says, if someone has 100 faults, probably like 99 faults, and one good thing, Allah says, keep highlighting and glorifying that one good thing of that person. But what do? So we always keep highlighting the other, we never want people to be happy in general. We always try and find the faults, but that is something that I think we all as an ummah needs to work on us, because somewhere we lack so much. हम कितना कुछ बोलते हैं. Imagine now all these ladies, in general also we have such gatherings, घर में मिलते हैं, मुलाकात होती है, and the moment we go our own ways, suddenly we start bitching about each other. And that is so sad. We don't have love between us. Why do we expect others to love us? Look at our situation. Our situations have gone so bad. If our children are not praying, we're like, oh, thak gaya hai, bichara, college and then, classes and school and homework. My child is tired, so it's okay. He missed his namaz, but it's, inshallah. There's no focus on that. Imagine today the child doesn't know a namaz-e-janaza for their own parents, and they have to call a Maulana. And then these are the people who say, oh, stay away from Maulanas. Oh, they're very tough people. है ना? ये लोग बस बैठ के बातें करते रहते हैं. But the moment someone is dead, the first thing we do is what? Call up a Maulana, because a child doesn't know janaza, keep namaz. A child doesn't know how to do ghusl. They don't know anything. And this is something that we need to make an effort कि हम अपने बच्चों को at least ये सिखाएं. And the reason I'm telling you this is because there is something that I witnessed recently. My husband was a part of, he was a friend of someone. Of course, they're not, they're acquaintance, not good friends. And I remember my husband went to Kabristan with him. He said, आपके अब्बू का कब्र किधर है? We'll go and pray. And that boy says that कब्र इधर है. But the guy, the man who takes care of the graveyard, he said, your father is not here, he's buried there. Imagine the son doesn't know where the father is buried. Isn't that? मतलब इसमें मुझे हंसी भी नहीं आती, मुझे रोना आता है. हम क्या कर रहे हैं? If someone is dead at home, ये एक है, तीजा करो, 40 days, 30 days, and after that, forgotten. There is no sadqa jariya for our people who are no more in this world, be it our parents. हम तो अपने parents की भी परवाह नहीं करते हैं. So हमें कोशिश करनी चाहिए कि सबसे important कि we have to make sure that हमारे principles क्या है. आपको एक ही question आपके जहन में होना चाहिए, what is my purpose? Why am I in this dunya? Why have Allah sent me? And after that you have to say that Allah is calling us Ashraful Makhluq, the best of His creation. Why is He calling us His best creation? That means we are here for a reason, and we all need to find that reason. The reason is Allah has sent us to be fair for the ummah. They say na, ukhrijat linnas أَتَأْمُرُونَ بِالْمَعْرُوفِ وَتَنْهَوْنَ عَنِ الْمُنكَرِ, that we have sent you for the betterment of mankind. So Allah says, go and pass the message, that tell them that this is what I like, and also pass message that this is what I don't like, so that we as an ummah can do things that Allah likes, and save ourselves from things that Allah doesn't like. And eventually every day, all day, we have to think about our akhirat. Din mein 5 baar, after every namaz, you have to know, you have to tell yourself that we are gonna die. Death is close. I can die now, I might not be able to reach my hotel, maybe tomorrow I won't be able to do any event in another, probably tomorrow it's in New Jersey, I might not even reach there. Who knows? There is no time for tawbah. We have to make it right away. हमको ये नहीं सोचना है ओके बहुत जल्दी जल्दी डिसीजन हो रहा है, व्हाट इफ आई टेक इट नाउ एंड व्हाट इफ आई एम नॉट एबल टू डू इट, व्हाट इफ आई एम नॉट एबल टू फॉलो, व्हाट इफ आई एम नॉट एबल टू कीप अप विद इट. नो प्रॉब्लम, you always have a chance, but the main chance is you do tawbah, that Allah, I love you and I'm doing it for you. The day I took hijab, Allah, I know it's tough, I've been for so many years, for almost more than 34 years I've been without my hijab, but today I'm taking this because I love you and I want Jannah. That has to be the thing. The day you decide you want to go to Jannah, everything, all the sunnahs that you want to follow, which you find tough today, will become the easiest thing to do. Everything became easy for me when I decided that I want to go to Jannah. So our goal is Jannah, because Allah is beautifying Jannah every day for us. Every day. And dunya is nothing. Everything is going to come to end. Imagine few years down the line, I'm not even going to be in this world. There will be somebody else speaking, kuch aur hoga, and it's not going to make any difference. It's not going to make difference even in my family. Forget about normal people when I'm no more. So what are we doing this for? Who are we pleasing? हम अपनी जिंदगी क्यों खराब कर रहे हैं? Why are we upsetting Allah for things that are not even relevant, for things that are not even important? Everything has its importance depending on how much of importance you give it. अगर मैं बोलूँगी ना ये बैग जो महंगा बैग है, ये महंगा है, बहुत इंपॉर्टेंट है, उसका वैल्यू बढ़ेगा. चीजों की वैल्यू हमारी उस चीज को वैल्यू देने से आती है, अदरवाइज चीजें जीरो है. स्क्रेप को वैल्यू नहीं देते, कचरा है. डस्टबिन को whatever we have in the dustbin, it's garbage, leave it. We don't give it value, so it's zero. The moment you start giving value to anything, it becomes valuable. So please give value to your life. We only have this one chance and we don't know for how long. They say now that Allah has gifted us this beautiful currency called life. And He said that spend it however you want. But when you come back to me, tell me, what did you buy? Jannat or Jahannam? So this life is a currency for us that Allah has given us in this dunya. And free will, jo karna hai karo. Spend it however you want. Spend it here, spend it there, go to disco, or go for Jamaat, watch movies, or buy, or probably download an app and learn something about Islam. Do anything. But at the end of it, you are answerable for this. And what have you made a purchase of that currency is the most important one. So make sure कि बस हमारे जहन में होना चाहिए, बहुत थोड़ा सा टाइम है हमारे पास. I might die next. Every namaz has to be, this might be my last namaz in this dunya. That has to be the intention. And overall, we have to have this thing in mind that apart from all this, it's not just your 5 times namaz, roza, zakat, hajj, umrah. That doesn't make us a good Muslim. Our good manners make us good Muslim. Allah loves people who are soft. Allah loves people who are helpful. Allah loves people who do care for others. And eventually Allah will give that back to us. तो कभी भी छोटी छोटी भी जो नेकी होती है ना, anything small that you give, maybe just you smile at someone, imagine that is also सवाब. Without any effort आपका सवाब add on होते जा रहा है. Isn't that beautiful? कुछ नहीं कर रहे हम. What are we doing? We're just smiling at someone. We're listening to someone. We're giving our shoulder to someone if we can't do anything. So that is something that is very important, because I know in this country, especially people who are in America, London, anywhere, especially abroad का जो system है, because आप सब India के अलग अलग मुल्कों से हो, तो generally यहाँ पे life बहुत fast है. Everything is very fast, very calculative. People don't have time. I was in London and I remember one person was suffering, kind of heart attack. And I remember someone saying, oh my God, the hospital jana, but we can't go, it's 40 minutes away. Me and my husband were in shock. 40 minutes away from this person might die. So this is something that I realized, that when you are in a country like this, the country makes you calculative, because where you are, everything is dollar, pound, ye, wo. Human emotions have become zero. So that is something that we have to try, कि कुछ भी हो जाए, at least be there for people. Because this might be your golden opportunity to impress Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and have your ticket for Jannah. So make sure that, we are helpful for each other, make sure that we are nice. हम दुनिया में अच्छा काम करें, कुछ और कर नहीं सकते. We don't know if we are going to be rewarded with Jannah or no, because मरने के बाद ही हमें पता चलेगा if any of our namazes, any of our sadaqah, anything has been accepted by Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. We have no idea. That's only once we die. But there are certain things that we know that Allah will be pleased. That is, Allah says, whoever speaks well is the one, Allah loves. So inshallah, I hope we all are going to try, and I hope that everyone who are present here, before we leave this banquet, we do our tawbah. Because they say कि जब ऐसी महफिल होती है, जब ऐसी जगह में इतने लोग जमा होते हैं, तो कहते हैं कि अल्लाह सुब्हानहू व तआला उनके नेक फरिश्तों को वहां पे भेजते हैं. Okay? There are angels around us. And everything that we're saying, they say Ameen, they say Ameen. So when you are in this surrounding, आपकी एक कैफियत बनती है, where you feel कि ये करना है. When you listen to people, you feel, oh, this is the change I want in my life. This is what I want to do. So this is the time that you should make your tawbah and go, no matter what happens later. But at least when you're walking out of this door, you are going to be like a newborn baby with no sins, inshallah. This is Allah's promise. This is not something that I'm saying, but this is something that Allah has promised. This is something that Allah has said. So we should at least try to make this effort. ये दरवाजे से निकलने से पहले, या अल्लाह मेरी तौबा, inshallah, I will not repeat this again. And I'm going to make sure that I impress you and I give my best. Give your best. बाद में जो भी अल्लाह देखेंगे, हाँ, आप अमल करो और अल्लाह से दुआ करो. हमें अमल के साथ अल्लाह से हेल्प भी चाहिए. That Allah help me. This is what I've decided. That this is something that I'm not going to do. Help me that I don't do this. There are a lot of things that I gave up, or still I'm trying to. I always say that Allah, I don't want to do this because I want to please you, but I need your help. I need your help. So make sure all your namazes are inshallah on time. We make sure that our Quran की तिलावत has to be there no matter what. जो हमारे वजीफे है वो तो है, सूरह रहमान, सूरह वाक़िया, सूरह यासीन. This is something सूरह मुल्क that we do every day. But make sure at least one page of tilawat. Okay? And after every namaz, 3 times Ayatul Kursi, 3 times Teenon Kul. Most important, it's your protection. Allah's given us a protection. 3 Kuls, Ayatul Kursi. This is your protection. Inshallah, Allah will protect us from any kind of evil that's there. So just have faith, and thank you so much for coming. And yes, of course, we have our Q&As. So,
what responsibility does a daughter-in-law have towards her husband's parents and siblings?
as I said before, that first, of course, according to that, there is no such responsibility, जो शरीयत कहती. But obviously, as human, when you take care of your husband's parents, you take care of their sisters, it's a sawab. And we all want sawab, right? And when you are wanting to be a good human, it's very automatic that you will do good things. So, जैसे you want your husband to love and respect your parents, we have to be giving also for his parents. So, I think it works both ways. शरिया के हिसाब से तो ऑफकोर्स वो कहते हैं ना कि अलग घर लेके दो, अलग सब कुछ करो, but then we have to be kind. And of course, what goes around comes around. So if you're going to give love and respect to his family members, to his parents, to his siblings, and I think we should all keep our family always united. We should be the reason to unite the family. So we should make that effort. Yeah.
Sure, alhamdulillah. Next question. How do you handle your past if people bring it up to you?
Well, if they bring it up to me in a positive way, I handle it beautifully. But if people just bring it up to put me down, or if they want to give a reminder, oh, this is how she was, now you're respecting her, now you guys like her, you guys are making her some inspirational speaker, but this is what she was. Okay, listen, see this pose, this is what she was. So in Hadith they say that people who remind you of your past just to bring you down are the youths. Okay, and Allah has I don't want to say, but Allah has big azab for them. May Allah protect us all, and may Allah give us all hidayat and give hidayat to people who do so.
Ameen. Okay. What challenges did you face after leaving the glamour world?
Challenges, of course, suddenly I still remember someone, posted a comment below my picture. They said, "Ye zalima to alima nikli."
Oh my God!
So even I had laughed that hard when I read that on my first Islamic post after my tawbah. So yeah, that's how I remember it because it was very well, the line was very nice. But obviously, there were a lot of difficulties. Imagine when you're a public figure and someone comes and comments below your post that, oh my God, now you're in that tent, oh my God, you're so oppressed. So people had different views, and they had their own opinions. And I think the most disturbing ones were the ones that were coming from our people, people who are not Muslims, you can understand because वो बेचारों को तो कुछ मालूम ही नहीं है. They don't know anything, so I don't even feel bad if any non-Muslim tells me anything because I'm like, they're not aware. But when a Muslim says something, you do feel bad. It's like, you know everything, why would you say it? So yeah, there was a lot of, there were struggles emotionally also for me after I changed and after I got married, oh my God, okay. So yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay. What is one dua you make to Allah that has completely changed you?
So one dua that I learned and I kept praying and I still do is Ya Muqallibal Qulub Sabbit Qalbi ala Dinik, ऐ दिलों को फेरने वाले मेरे दिल को तेरे दीन पे जमा दे. So I think that is something that everyone should try and recite every day, all day, and I do that when I'm in my sujood. And because that's the time when you are, your head is right there, and वो पहला टाइम है जब आपका दिमाग जो होता है वो नीचे होता है और दिल ऊपर होता है. Otherwise it's always, So this is something that I always do, and I always tell people that do recite this dua. It's very powerful. It makes a lot of difference.
Okay, so this next question is for some young girls who are looking for the right person to marry. How did you know Anas was the right person to marry?
Because he used to say yes to everything.
That's what we all need, right?
And he used to say Margaret for everything. And I used to always tell him, what is Margaret? What is Margaret? It's sorry. So any guy who says sorry all the time is the right person to get married to.
Now we know what to look for. Okay. While you were in the industry, did you ever think you were going to change?
No, I don't. I knew that I am not fit for this industry, that is for sure, because I couldn't get along with a lot of things. I was never a party girl, but I used to go and party because I thought I had to fit into the society. The fitting into the society game is very tough. And I think that is where we all get lost somewhere, to fit somewhere, to fit in this group, to have these friends. Because you want to be friends with so and so, you have to fit in here. So this is what you have to do. So I remember that, one thing I knew that I would not be in this for long. That was for sure. And 2018 was the first attempt I made to probably quit industry, but I failed. And then 2020 when it happened, I'm running away from here before the shaitan comes and tells me that this is the wrong decision. I was so going to say I'm leaving everything.
Okay. What helped you stay steadfast in wearing a hijab? Do you ever feel unsafe due to increasing racism against hijabis?
I think, especially in India, there is, alhamdulillah, there is no such problem. But obviously, there are so many things that you hear, you see it on social media from smaller states, or especially in the Western world, I see so many things happening. So I definitely believe that it is a little scary, but also at the same time, I think the moment you wear hijab, there's this different kind of power you have, and that is when you feel that no matter what happens, even if I have to give my life, I'm never going to take this hijab off. So I think that is the mindset you have once you start wearing your hijab. So yeah.
Mashallah. So someone asked, please advise how to avoid negative thoughts when a person is alone. How do you avoid shaitan's thoughts and focus on your ibadat?
Most important, every time you keep doing istighfar. The more you do istighfar, the more you're going to be away from committing a sin or even thinking about a sin, and always know that Allah is watching, even if you're alone. The day you start understanding and the day you stop sinning because you feel, okay, oh, I know Allah is watching me. No one is watching me, but Allah is watching me. The day we have this thing in our mind, then inshallah, we will never commit sin, even if you're alone. Yeah.
Inshallah. What made you transform, and how relevant was your husband's role in your transformation?
Oh, he was a main hero. I was just a character artist at that point of time. Obviously, he came with the dawah to me, and then he started explaining everything very slowly, beautifully, with a lot of hikmah. And I remember when I was doing the same with my family, when I was changing, especially with my mother, I was very strict. They used to call me inspector at home. They used to say that the moment जैसी अजान होती है, Sana comes out of her bedroom to check who's not wearing hijab, who's not covering their head. My maids used to say that to my mother. They were so scared of me, and they used to tell my mom that I'm scared of Sana, that when she's home, and if जब अजान का time होता है, suddenly she comes out like a mushroom from her room, only to check why have you not covered your head. So my mom was like, you cannot be doing that. You cannot be so strict. This is not how you spread Islam and this and that. And I was like, it's okay. I can do that with you all. You all are my family. Don't feel that. But when you do it with other people, you have to have hikmah. You have to be soft. You have to be nice. You can't expect that just because I said something to you today, it has to happen very next moment. So it takes time. It took my husband 3 years for me. After 500 times I blocked him, unblocked him, blocked him, unblocked him. He never gave up. And mashallah, see, here I am today. So alhamdulillah, it's all his hard work. And whenever I do anything that I do, I always pray and I tell Allah, give all the sawab to my husband. Whatever I do, he is the reason why I am here. So all the sadaqah jariyah should go to my husband.
Inshallah. What are some challenges you face being a new mother, along with being a businesswoman, excellent speaker, and of course traveling?
A lot of challenges, trust me. Traveling with a baby is not easy. You're always looking for someone to hold the baby when you're working. But of course, especially when when it's your first child and when you experience the whole pregnancy phase and when you're giving birth to your baby, I think that moment is something that, I always tell my husband there were so many moments, but the moment I saw my baby for the very first time, in the hospital, I think that moment is something that I can never ever forget, and that's the most precious moment that I ever felt. I don't think there's anything in this world that can make me feel like that. So it feels beautiful. Of course it's hectic, traveling with this small baby, too tiny. But it's fun. It's fun. And of course I try to work when he's sleeping. So when he's sleeping, they generally say sleep when the baby sleeps. But I like work when the baby sleeps.
That's true. Okay, one last question. And I think this will be a wrap up to everything. What message, if you could say one message to everybody, what message would you leave for the mothers, the wives, and the children, the daughters, as to what they can do to better their future? Islamically, dunya and deen both, because I think as mothers we struggle to tell our children what to do.
I'm still finding the answer to this because I have to do the same at home right now that I'm a mother. But obviously, I think your base has to be very strong. So again, I say comes from home. What we teach our children from bachpan say, it should not always be about, oh, you have to become a good engineer, you have to become a good doctor, you have to become, a CEO of so-and-so company. No. First, you have to become a good human. And I'm fine if tomorrow my child is an average student. If he's not a topper, I'm okay. I'm okay with it. Every child has a capacity to learn something and to do something. You cannot force the child कि यही करना है and then you depress the child. So I think that is something that we should avoid. And second, please, we must always express our love towards our children. So, okay, so I'm going to say this. 3 days back, I just spoke to Maulana Khalid Sahab, and I said, what message would you want me to give to people in states? And he said that please tell all the mothers to tell their children that I love you every day. So this is a message from him which I'm forwarding, and this is something that even I feel that most of the times we lack expressing. Be it our own parents, our children, our spouses, that my husband, I love you all day, trust me. Every time I tell him, I think you love me less, so that he starts telling me things. So, I think this is something to keep your relation alive, to keep that love between you all. It's very, very important to express. Expression is very important. So please, आप भी अपने husband को एक्सप्रेस करे, बच्चों को एक्सप्रेस करे, माँ बाप को एक्सप्रेस करे, not just your husband and kids, but also your parents. Go and tell them you love them, hug them, kiss them. So I think, yeah, it's very important.
Absolutely, that's very true. Jazakallah khair for your inspirational words. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you, thank you,
A
thank you
big
so
round of
much.
applause for Sister Sana Khan.
Thank you everyone. Thank you so much for coming and thank you all the volunteers who have done such a great job and thank you